Hey guys, welcome to your first Math with Max video of the whole school year 2019-2020. I'm going to be making several of these videos that will be in your Google Classroom. So get used to it a little bit, okay? About once a week, especially when I'm absent for trainings and stuff like that, I like to make a video so that I know that things are being taught to you the way that I want them to be taught to you. I know a lot of you were happy about the sub last time, but I heard a lot of that they were telling you stories and stuff and not doing what I asked them to do, so that's a problem. For me, maybe not for you, but for me, because I like to make sure that my stuff is getting done and I trust myself, obviously, right? So before we get started, I want to introduce my doggies to you. So Rocky, come here. Oh no, they're being shy. Max, come here. Come here, Maxine. Come here, boys. They get really excited. So here's Max. I don't know if you can see him or not. There's Max. He's my handsome beagle. He's my firstborn. He's my first baby. And then here comes Rocky. Rocky is my second baby. He's a pit bull and bulldog mix. He's actually the younger one, even though he's bigger. He just turned 2, and Max is 3 going on 4. Okay, so they're gonna go over there and play. You might see them run past me in a little bit. So you should have a sheet that looks like this. It should say fast focus, and then right here it says due date or due by, sorry. So right there I want you to write due by, we're gonna say Monday, which would be the what? The 16th, I believe. So you're gonna put Monday 2019. If this is not turned in by Monday September 16th, 2019, I will not be accepting it because we're starting centers today, which is Thursday. We'll continue with centers, which is Friday. Then if you don't finish any of your center work during those 2 days, which I believe is plenty of time, then you have to take it home for the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. So that's already Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then it'll be due on Monday. So that's 4 days to get one of these pages done. It is front and back. However, I will be doing 4 of the questions with you. So if there's 10 questions, no, not even, there's 9 questions, I'm doing 4 of them with you, then you're simply responsible for 5 more, which I don't think is a problem. So for you, it shouldn't be a problem for you. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and dive in. So again, put your name and then please put the date, September 16th, which is going to be your due date, okay? Again, I'm looking at the page right here that says 2A, page 3. Do you see that? 2A, page 3. And I'm gonna start with the very first question. I'm gonna read it to you and then we're gonna work it out together. Your work should match my work. If I'm writing it, then you should be writing it as well. That shouldn't be a problem. All right, so number 1. It says Amy wrote a decimal number. The number had a 5 in the hundredths place, a 6 in the thousandths place, and a 2 in the ones place. A 2 in the ones place and a 3 in the tenths place. Which represents the value of the 6 in Amy's number? So it's this question right here. And these dotted lines separate this question, the work for this question from the work on this question. So I'm not going to do my work here because that's too small for you guys to see. I'm going to do my work on this page right here. Okay, so what I've done is I've drawn different places because they told me 4 different digits. So what I've done is I've made 4 dashes to show that I'm going to make a place value here. Alrighty, so starting with the first number they gave me, they told me that the number had a 5 in the hundredths place, a 6 in the thousandths place, a 2 in the ones, and a 3 in the tenths. Out of all those places, hundredths, thousandths, ones, and tenths, the ones is going to be my greatest value. So I know that right here, my ones place, I'm just going to put an O underneath that so that I remember that's my ones place. And yes, you should be doing this too. You should have 4 little lines written in here with the O underneath it, just like I have. And in the ones place, they said that there should be a 2. Am I reading that right? A 2 in the ones place, yes. So right here in my ones place, I should have a 2. Okay? And then my other places were hundredths, thousandths, and tenths, which tells me that right here, I should have a what? If this is my ones and then tenths, hundredths, thousandths, I should definitely have a decimal right there. So I'm gonna put my decimal. Okay? I'm gonna make sure I'm not bleeding through this paper, yeah. Okay. Then they said, let me go back a little bit. They said the number had a 5 in the hundredths place. Okay, so here's my ones place. This would be my tenths place. So underneath that, I'm going to put 1/10 because that also represents a tenth, right? Next to that would be my hundredths. And then next to that would be my thousandths. Okay, so what have I essentially done here? I've essentially made a place value t-chart, guys. It doesn't always have to be exactly a t-chart like you've been taught before, but as long as you're showing me organization, that's what I'm looking for, okay? So going back, a 5 in the hundredths, so I'm gonna put a 5 in the hundredths place. Moving on, a 6 in the thousandths. So right now I should have this, 5 in the hundredths, 6 in the thousandths, and then a 3 in the tenths, okay? But that's not what the question's asking. It's not asking me what's the number that they gave me, right? That's not what they're asking me for. What they're really asking me for is which represents the value of the 6. So all I care about is the 6. But the word that I'm thinking of is value. Value is not the same thing as place. We talked about value, the difference between value and place. Place is telling me where is it sitting in the house, right? Tenths, hundredths, thousandths. That's not what they want. They want to know the values. Basically, value means the expanded notation. So if I pull out that 6, what is it going to look like when it's standing by itself? Okay? So on the back here, let me actually get another sheet of paper and see if I have another one. Yeah, I'll use this one. Okay, so I'm going to take that number that I just wrote down, 2 and, oh, my bad. I'm not thinking right now. 2 and 356, and yes, you should be writing this down. So we're going to take apart those the values for an expanded notation, or expanded form, I should say, so that I can see what the value of that 6 is by itself. So the first thing I have is a 2. So the first thing I want to write is my 2, decimal 0, 0, 0, because that's the value of my 2. So I'm going to keep going with my 3, my 5, and then my 6. Okay, the value of my 3, right? The value of my 5, and then the value of my 6, just like that. So the only one that could possibly match that on my answers would have to be, I believe, is A. Okay, guys, if at any point I'm going too fast or you're a little bit confused, that's the whole point of the video. You can pause and go back, or you can fast forward, or whatever it is that you need to do. But you should not be messing around or clicking on things that you should not be. So keep that in mind. And remember, I can always check your history. If I feel like you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, I can always go back and say so-and-so was on the wrong page at this time. And I'll let your mom and dad know. You don't want that, okay? Here's number 4. So this should be the 4th one down. 1, 2, 3, 4. I know the 4 got kind of cut off, but it's no big whoop. All right. Read with me. Mr. Ortiz bought 3 large pumpkins. The first weighed 28 and 45 pounds. The second weighed 28 and 6/10 pounds. The third weighed 28 and 5/10 pounds, which shows a correct comparison of the weights of the first and third pumpkins. The first and the third, which means that second pumpkin was just extra information. I don't need him. Okay, so all I'm focusing on is the first and the third. So when I'm comparing two numbers, I told y'all specifically that I wanted you to line up those decimals. If it helps you, make a t-chart so that you can line up your decimals. That's okay. That's even better. So that's what I've done right here. Both of my numbers have a digit in the ones place and the tens, and then a digit in the tenths place. So that's why I did it like that. So I have my tens, my ones, and then my tenths, just like that. And actually, I just realized it right now, I need a hundredths place because one of my digits has one of my numbers has a digit in the hundredths place, the first number that they gave me. So I'm going to take that first number of the first pumpkin that weighed 28 and 45 hundredths, and I'm going to put it in there. 28 and 45 hundredths. So I should have that so far. And again, you should be working this out in this little space that you have next to the question. Okay, so I want to compare the first pumpkin to the third pumpkin, and the third pumpkin weighed 28 and 5/10. So I'm going to write that down as well. 28 and 5/10. So I have it just like that. And then remember, if it makes you feel better, you can always fill in that gap right there with the 0. All right, so when I'm comparing numbers, I want to start with my greatest place value, and in this case, it's going to be my tens. So in my tens, I have a 2 and a 2. So obviously that doesn't give me any new information. It's the same thing, so I have to keep on moving. And then it's the same thing in my ones place, an 8 and an 8. That's not telling me anything. I need to keep it moving. Okay? But things start to change when I get to my tens place. I have a 4 and a 5. Okay, so that tells me that my 5 is obviously greater than my 4, which means that my third pumpkin, okay, remember this is our first pumpkin and this is our third pumpkin. I know that my third pumpkin has a greater weight than my first pumpkin. Okay, so let's look at our answer choices. The A says 28 and 5/10 is greater than 28 and 45/100. Well, is that true? Is 28 and 5/10 greater than 28 and 45/100? It is true. So next to A, put a T. But I want to keep going through all the answer choices to be on the safe side, okay? On B, it says that 28 and 45/100 is less than 28 and 6/10. Now, that is true. However, 28 and 6/10 was not a pumpkin that they wanted us to compare. If you look closely at the question, the second weighed 28 and 6/10 pounds, not the first or the third. So they were trying to trick you with B. Even though B is correct, it doesn't apply to what they're talking about or what they're asking for. So they can trick you. Remember, I talked about how it's so easy to fall into the gap, right? They give you the real information, and then you think that that's what you're supposed to be answering when you're not. So you have to read carefully. Okay, C says that 28 and 45/100 is greater than 28 and 5/10. Well, we just proved that that is wrong, so we know C is incorrect. And then D, 28 and 5/10 is less than 28 and 6/10. There's that 28 and 6/10 again, right? Which that statement is true, but again, that 28 and 6/10 is not what we're supposed to be using. Again, the 28 and 6/10 was for the second pumpkin. Okay, so then our only answer should have been A. Okay, so I need to see this work, people. If I'm not seeing this work, no credit. All right, I'm only going to do 2 on the front, so let's go ahead and turn to the back. And I'm on the second one right here. And the reason I chose this one is that it's not that it's difficult. It's that I want to make sure you guys get used to bubbling in correctly, because if this is not bubbled in properly, then I will not give you credit as well. And not to be mean, not because I just feel like giving you or getting mad at you, is because when you take the STAR test, there are going to be at least 2 or 3 bubble questions. And it's very easy to make a mistake on those bubble questions if you're not paying attention, all right? So even though you might have the right answer, you might bubble it in wrong. Or you might put it, you might put it in the wrong place, or you literally might bubble in the wrong digit. So it's really good that we practice this now, all right? So number 2 says, the weight of Mr. Lyon's safe is exactly 98 and 155 thousandths pounds. What is the weight of the safe rounded to the nearest 10th? Okay, so I've already written that number, so this is what you should already have in that blank space. And we want to round it to the nearest 10th. 10th, not 10, 10th. So I know that if my decimal is here, the first place to the right of my decimal should be my 10th place. So excuse me, I'm going to underline my 1. We're rounding right now. We switched over from place value to rounding. However, we still need place value to round properly. So remember, I talked about how you want to underline the digit that they're talking about. Then I want to circle the digit next door. So if they want me to round to the 10ths, then I need to underline the 10ths and circle the digit next door, which is going to be my 5. Okay? And this is where I ask myself, does that 5 have enough power to change the 1? 5 or more, raise a score. 4 or less, let it rest. So does that 5 have enough power? You should be answering yes. So I'm going to give that 1 more. Okay? That bucket has enough to fill over. He's going to spill over to the next place, okay? So now when I rewrite my number, the 9 and the 8, nothing happened to it. So it's going to stay the same. Okay? They didn't get any power. However, that 1 did get 1 more. So that 1 is actually going to become what? A 2. Okay? But what happened to this last 5? Well, nothing, because you have to imagine that that 155 is actually rounded up to 200. So basically these are zeros behind. Okay? You don't have to have the zeros. If the zeros make you feel better, then go ahead and bubble them in. But they're not necessary, because remember we talked about the trailing zeros not having value, right? So if you bubble in 98 and 2/10 just like that, you're good to go. All right, and that's the reason I chose that one. The last one I want to do is number 3, and I'm not necessarily going to do it with you. I just want to clarify something on there because I don't think it's as difficult as some students make it out to be. So it's number 3 right here with this number line. And it says that Nesto placed points R, S, T, and U on the number line below. Which points represent numbers that round to 9 5/10 when rounded to the nearest tenth? So you had to find the letters that are going to become 9 5/10 if you round them, okay? And I made this, you don't have to draw this out right now, but I did this because I think some students are getting confused. So from 9 4/10 to 9 5/10, there are, let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Well, let me see, 10. And then let me double count on this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. There should be 10. So I made a boo-boo there. Okay, so ignore that. But the point is that you're trying to see if this is 9 4/10 and this is 9 5/10, and that means that they're counting by hundredths, which means that this one right here would be 9 41/100ths. And then the one next to it would be 9 42/100ths, then 9 43, 9 44, 9 45, so on all the way until you get to 9 50 or 9 5/10, which is the same thing. So that's what I just wanted to clarify on that one right there. So just be careful when you're counting. Even I made a little mistake when I was drawing it. Okay, those are the only 4 that I'm going to go over with you. The rest of them you are responsible for. And again, it needs to be in the basket by Monday, September 16th. I believe it's September 16th. All right, so you have your other centers. So make sure you get those done. Do not waste too much time on those. And I will see you on the next Math with Max and Rocky. Bye, guys.